There was once a time when I actually enjoyed top 10s, as I did with a lot of other things that I don't enjoy anymore. So to be honest, I don't think top 10s or list channels are really that great. I mean, whoa, big deal, I have an opinion. Well, let me explain things a bit. I'll start with one of the few things that I think these channels can be given credit for. They're actually pretty easy to follow. What I mean is, lists will not confuse you at all. It may be hard to follow the direction of some videos sometimes. To use myself as the example, lots of people have gotten confused by some of my more educational videos. They can be useful to break down a topic into multiple sections, but that's really all I could come up with in terms of positives. One thing that I think people overlook is the fact that they're just easy. Believe it or not, putting together a list with proper editing and scripting is actually not that hard at all. I'm not saying that work isn't put into them, I'm saying that it could be better used on something else. I understand that's more of a subjective thing, but it's hard not to feel that way when they're so overdone. Like, do you think we have enough top 10s yet, guys? Look. WatchMojo alone has 12,275 videos, 99% of them being top 10s. Like, this one channel alone is overdoing it, but it's not just them. There are so many other list channels, it's hard to count. It's so overdone that on almost every video I click on, I see some sort of list recommended to me. And don't tell me that top 5s are any different, because it's literally the same thing with fewer items on the list. Some could argue the point that some channels are at least a little bit unique about it, but at the end of the day it's still just another list. Like, oh, big deal, you go one step beyond and make it 11. Like I care. And for crying out loud, do you really need this many facts about one specific thing? No, you really don't. After that amount of top 10s, it just starts to feel boring. I've lost all interest in watching list videos anymore. The only good ones are parodies and other videos making fun of the fact that there are so many lists out there, like Mr. List or whatever else is out there. Although a good personality can actually make these videos quite entertaining, and not so boring. But sadly there aren't any out there. I mean, sure, there are quite a few smaller channels and even some bigger ones, I'm sure of that. But YouTube doesn't work that way. Those kind of channels are quite a bit more hard to find because of their size. So instead, we get these bland, dry personalities that force happiness and just narrate the script because it's their job. It almost comes off as unnatural how fake some personalities on YouTube can be. But like I said, I do know there are some good channels out there. Still though, when a video is that boring, most people just skip to number 1, not bothering to watch through the whole video. I know I've done it many times, and I'm sure you have too. The video is supposed to be a proper build-up to number 1, each entry grabbing your attention a little more. And if that's not how the video is structured, then it would be better off making a video about number 1 on its own, explaining why you think it should be number 1. Like for example, instead of me making top 10 best games of all time, I'd make why Super Mario World is the best game, and in that video I'd give my proper reasoning and explanations while still acknowledging the fact that there really can't be a so-called best game. And I feel as though a video like that would be quite a bit more entertaining than a simple top 10. But that's to say I'd ever even make a top 10 like that. Even if I did make top 10s on this channel, that wouldn't be a video I'd make because of how cliche it is. If it's based on opinion, that's fine, because opinions are always different. But I wouldn't make that a video with the intention of naming the literal top 10 best games of all time. But back to what I was saying, that is an extremely cliche topic, yet I still see people cover it to this day. And that gets me wondering, why are so many cliche topics covered? If there are already 10,000 videos on a topic, why cover it? It's just pointless. But then again, maybe not as pointless as some of the topics I've seen covered. There is a fine line in between something being cliche and something being pointless. If something is so obscure that there isn't a reason to cover it, that's pointless. If something is so overdone that nobody would even care to see your list about it, that's also pointless. What people need to understand is that you need to keep it in between being cliche and unnecessary. I could go through a ton of pointless top 10s that I've seen, but there really is no need to because you'll probably see one at some point anyway. But with all that, it really just comes down to being repetitive. List after list after list after list after list. I kind of already made this point with it being overdone and all, but what I mean to say is that they all seem the same. If you watch 2 different Watch Mojo videos and I asked about them a week later, you'd probably forget that you even watched 2. They all kind of just meld together. The more you watch, the more repetitive it seems. I'm not going to lie, most of what I've said can be marked off as an opinion. What I've said can't be called 100% consistent facts. Just like in top 10s. So I'll bring up some points that can't really be argued with. Like the fact that not everything is actually a fact as stated, but instead can be based on opinion or biased towards a specific item. Basically what I'm saying is I oftentimes see opinions stated as fact. I'm sorry, but no one person can say as a fact what the best game of all time is, because it's inherently a subjective topic. I know I use that example a lot, but it works. It really gets to me when I see people acting as though their opinion is fact, because it just makes them look ignorant. So to overuse Watch Mojo as an example, they could just state in their videos that they put together a list with the best of their knowledge and is mostly regarded as a general stance on things, not as this fact that should be referred to when stating something as the best. It's not as if they usually give much reason in their videos why something is the best anyway. Now, to bring up a whole new point, I've heard the argument that top 10s can be good for education, and while I agree to an extent, that doesn't stop people from putting false facts in their videos. You know the term, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true? Well, that can be very well applied to many list channels. It's really incredible how many false facts are put out there. One of the few list channels I actually watch made a video semi-relating to this topic. The channel I'm talking about is Lemino, with their video The 8 Spiders, a documentary on one story that ties in with circular reporting and the spread of false facts. But this video quite clearly shows by the end that not all people that run list channels do their research. This causes a lot of misinformation to be spread. While most people know not to believe everything you see on the internet, that doesn't stop people from believing things anyway. Which overall is my biggest issue with list channels. The argument that they have good education is fine, but like I said earlier, I feel as though their time could be better spent on something else. If you want to make a really good educational video, do something like Vsauce. Educate yourself on a topic and then make a video that's not only more entertaining, but more factually accurate. It would be simply a better education for everyone. At the end of the day, those are the reasons I don't find top 10s that great. You can agree, disagree, whatever you'd like. It doesn't change my opinion one way or another. So, my take on list channels? Well, I think they're easy to make, overdone, boring, cliche, pointless, repetitive, and can be factually incorrect.